Welcome. We are going to be finally, I know it's taken me a while, but the engine's broken in now so I can do this video. It is time to do a review on the GR Corolla Circuit Edition that we bought. A full review now that I can compare, and I know that no one has done a comparison, as far as I can tell, between the GR Corolla Core without the performance pack and doing the comparison between that and a circuit, or even the Core Performance, but with the performance pack. But no one's really done that, and I think I can now do that now that I've actually had time. So let's do it. Let's hop in the car, we will talk, and we will go with it. Let's do this. All right, here we are. Actually, I think I'm going to keep the door open just so the light stays on. Okay, so let's talk. So, as y'all know, I had a GR Corolla GR Corolla Core non-performance pack car, and I thought it was great. One of the things I did say in the last video about the car is that in the rain, it would pull to one side hard whenever it would go over like a puddle or, something where the rainwater was really thick in that spot. The circuit, however, it just plows right through and goes straight. That has to do with the limited slip differentials. I will say that in the corners, the GR Corolla Core non-performance pack with the open differentials, when you would exit a corner full throttle, like mid-corner to exit, it would almost wallow around like this. And that was the suspension and the diffs, like kind of trying to find the traction when it didn't really have it. But it was still just fine. Because it wasn't like while the suspension was kind of doing this coming out, like it was like not hopping. It looks like it's hopping it with the way my hand's going, but it was more like you could feel the suspension like moving underneath the car, but it would still drive like it was going flat. But it felt very unnerving. The circuit does not do that. Now, what's interesting about the 23 core and the 24, even the 24 core, is they changed the length of the bolts and certain things in the front suspension, in the front subframe, and so on and so forth. They changed quite a few things. And so I don't know how much of that was that, because I didn't drive a 2023 circuit. My experience is in the 24 circuit. I almost bought a 23 circuit when I could have gotten one below MSRP, but I didn't do it. And so I don't know how much of that is that. However, I can say the circuit does not wallow, does not search for traction at all. And from I have a lot of racing experience on track, not drag racing, but circuit racing. And I can say, contrary to what everyone says, at least for me, I can feel the difference. I can definitely feel the difference on the open road without breaking the speed limit. The difference between the open diff and the limited slip diff. Anyone who says, oh, you got to be on a racetrack to feel the difference, that's not true. It's not true at all. If you can push the limit, and really give the car everything it's got, which you can with this car. That's what's so great about it, is you can really push the limit and, without breaking the law and have a lot of fun. So, that's what's so great about this car. So what I was saying is the LSDs with the upgraded bolts and everything like that, from the 2024 at least, the suspension doesn't wallow. And it's not searching for grip. It just turns in and goes. It's not really searching for anything. The traction is quite good. But the traction was just fine on the open diff car too. but it just felt unnerving what the suspension was doing. And if anyone wants to comment below that has a non-performance pack core and say that they have the same thing, I would love to hear that they felt the same thing at the limit, because I felt it and it was unnerving. It was really unnerving, to be quite frank. But it wasn't actually affecting much because the car itself still did what it was supposed to do. It just didn't feel right. Like it, I'm not talking about like the car leaning. I'm talking about it like constantly wallowing on the front suspension and the rear suspension too. It just, I've never felt that in a car with stock suspension ever. Like I had a 06 STI back when they were fairly new, and I tracked the heck out of that car, and even factory suspension on that, which was soft, didn't do that. It didn't do that at all. And my old Skyline didn't do that. I've never had a car that felt like that. Even my Lexus, with how floaty that suspension is, it would lean, but it would find traction and just stay there. You know? This car wallowed and like shimmied around at the limit, left and right. So if I was taking a right corner and you would think the suspension would go left, on corner exit it'd be kind of doing this, you know, and that's just strange. So this car does not do that. Not at all. I will say, between the 23 and the 24, I am getting better gas mileage. I'm getting about 1.5 miles per gallon better. And I know there's some stuff behind the front bumper that they changed as far as like metal inserts to get on the inside of the front bumper that change airflow. That's definitely obvious. I will say a positive to the circuit in the Core is I can hear a lot more turbo and blow-off valve noises through the hood over the Core. You know, I will say that right now. It's very pleasant to hear all the noise that comes with it. As far as my complaints go with this car, I still think the seats suck. They haven't really broken in. They've broken in a little bit, but they are not as comfortable as the Core. They're just not. And I know they're the same seat with the different cover, but it's just not. It's just not as good. The shifter is the shift knob, not the shifter. The shifter is itself the same. The shift knob is just hot garbage. It's very soft, it's very pleasant leather, but the way it's designed just does not sit well in your hand. So I will say the Core's better at that. The shifter's better. It's not as heavy as the circuit, so ironically, the way the shifting feel feels with the aftermarket shift knob that was on my Core, which is not on this car, is very similar. The way the shifter feels compared to the ridiculously lightweight plastic Core shift knob. So I will say that's better, the way the shifter feels as far as shift engagement, but the way your hand sits on this shift knob just sucks. It's just terrible. And I know it's also going to wear out in like 1,500 to 2,000 miles because everyone else's has. So I'm going to have to get a different shifter before that happens, just so when if I decide to sell this car one day, that I can put the factory shift knob back on and, you know, keep my shift knob for myself like I do with every car 9 times out of 10. I will say this also. I did find something I like about the carbon roof, which wouldn't have been the case with the Core, which has the metal roof. So as I was driving home from Dunkin' Donuts 2 weeks ago, a tree branch, a big one, a big tree branch, like a bunch of acorns and a squirrel landed on my roof. Now granted, my roof has PPF and everything on it, you know, which I'm sure some of you all know because I posted about it. I also posted about this story, but I figured I'd add it into the story for this this video. Not a scratch, not a dent, not anything happened to the car with the carbon roof. Now with a metal roof, that thing would have been messed up. It would have been dented, it would have been all scratched up, the paint would have been ruined. You know, I would have been really disappointed with that. It just, and with the squirrels, what caused the whole thing to happen. You know, it's kind of ironic that that happened, but nothing happened to the roof. Nothing. That is a benefit to a carbon roof. They don't dent, they crack. But I didn't have a crack. I didn't have anything. Nothing happened. So, and yes, from what someone commented in my post on a Facebook page, the squirrel's fine. The squirrel is perfectly fine, and so is the car. So there is a positive to the carbon roof besides lightweight, but I don't really like the carbon roof still, but that definitely saved the roof for sure. For sure. And my complaints about the car still exist. They still exist. There's still not enough room in the trunk. The entrance for rear passengers is hot garbage. Less than my hand, or just over my hand, I think. That's how big the opening actually is to get in and out. Between the seat and the door opening. That's the reality of it. So, the sound system is a little bit better in the circuit. I will say that. I can actually hear some stuff now. It's not just flat, but it's still a bunch of hot garbage for what it is. I mean, my Prius Prime had better sound than this, and that's just terrible. For how much this car cost, the sound system should be a lot better. It just should. What else? What else is there? Drivability is improved. Gas mileage is improved. Turn-in is improved. Corner entry and exit confidence is improved. Sound is improved as far as, hearing the engine, not from the exhaust, but, from the front of the car, which is always nice. What else? I think that's really it. I really wish I had driven a 23 circuit. I had an opportunity. I just decided not to do it. Just to see how much the bolts have to do with that and how much the limited slips have to do with that. I will say it is a huge difference between the 23 and 24 from my perspective. And how much of that is the bolts and the limited slip is up to be decided. But, I feel like I'm one of the few people who have actually done the upgrade and are going to make a video on this. The Core is still a great car. For the price, it's fabulous, especially a 23. The price is great. I mean, I paid MSRP for mine, my Core, when you couldn't really do it. And I also did better than that this time. And I only lost $500 trading in the Core to the circuit after owning the car for almost a year. So, great, very good depreciation in a positive way, not a negative way, between the two cars. But that's it for now. As far as plans for this car go, I'm still very much considering the RK Titanium single exit exhaust. I really think it looks beautiful, and I think it'll look really beautiful on a white car. The colors will really pop off of that exhaust, and also sounds really good. Every time I see it online, it just looks and sounds great. So that's the exhaust I'm going to be looking at for this car. As far as an intake go, I'm still waiting for something really good to come out. I am interested in the K&N. They do say it's not going to leak water from the hood vents onto the filter, but I haven't heard from actual owners, just from K&N on that. And as far as the shift knob, I'm looking at shifter. I'm looking at the Cooler Works or the CAE. They're both the same exact thing, but I think the CAE may have less problems. I also like the shift knob choices on the CAE better. But for now, the car is still the way it was when I bought it. I'm very happy with the purchase at this current price. And if you have a Core non-performance pack, it is one hell of an upgrade to the 24 circuit. I don't know what the 24 Core performance pack is like compared to the circuit, but I really like this car. I'm going to say, I think it is a solid buy. Makes a good noise. Drives really well. Turning's great. Braking's amazing. Corner exit's really good. Really don't have too much understeer, although I know how to correct it with my experience. If you're looking to get a car that oversteers, this isn't the car for you. I'm sure someone will figure out how to do it properly, but it's just not. It's not oversteer for the sake of having a lot of fun. You have to really commit to it, and because of that, I don't really like it from an oversteer perspective. And you have to really push it hard to get it to oversteer. I have done it. You know, it's doable. Even without the e-brake, it's doable. But you're not going faster because of it, or you're not oversteering coming out of the corner. You have to oversteer going into the corner, and then you exit straight. You know, it's really difficult to do, and I can do it. And I was expecting a little more. It was very easy to get my 06 STI to do it. That had a heavily modified suspension, but I could do it like really well, and I was going faster because of it. Because I could be a little bit straighter at a higher RPM exiting a corner when I would race around Sebring International Raceway. So it was actually for benefit. This car, I don't know if that will happen with the way it acts. But we'll see. We'll see if someone comes out with something or a suspension setup that can really accomplish that. But this has been an update video. I hope it's been informative and beneficial. And, you know, I think it's a great car. I wouldn't have bought two of them if I didn't. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care.